So I did some tweaking, and so, I mean, there might be times in which I stop during the video to basically resync my audio as we get a Though 7th Curse random item stats, which means, nope, never mind, I'm going crazy. Though 7th Curse, hopefully I just remembered what I forgot. But let's set that up first, and I will continue further on what I mean by everything. So, as we get into Though 7th Curse random item stats custom character with 4 strength, 5 dexterity, 7 perception, 7 knowledge, 5 charisma, and I don't know how much luck. Yeah, we start with 4 funds. Do we? No, 7th Curse, I'm going crazy. I just looked at this character's bonus because I had changed their linked events, but as we also have second mystery, strength, light, dexterity, charisma, and maybe Takshisan. We're gonna go for the army knife, and I can explain myself. So, I'm playing the non-Steam version, which means that I am using the, well, Linux version, or the Windows version from itch.io. That is primarily my non-Steam source for World of Horror, and from I think 98% of people using Linux at minimum who decide to play World of Horror, you'll find out that you can't do so just from step 1 to step 2. As we get Arms, Vigil, Ramen, Auteur maybe, and Nightclub. But we'll check just to see if we get anything else. No, we did not, so off we go. I promise you, when you see the mystery, we will know immediately when things happen. But we've already narrated through Nightclub, so I don't really need to explain it. But as we start in Arms instead, yeah, so I came out with a video recently at the time of this recording, in which you can see how I set up my Linux non-Steam version of World of Horror. There are some nuances, if I can remember to talk about them, but other than that, should be pretty straightforward. I like to go from step 1 to just step 2 instead of add 3 to 4 more steps. And by that, basically, I mean it's nice to decrease the amount of steps if possible. Now, obviously, there's a trade-off. If for whatever reason the steps are hard to... I mean, there's not enough clarification between steps. We still take the army knife, by the way, because it's 75 speed, as opposed to Meat Cleaver's 90-ish speed. But we also have Vigil, so police station the mansion to save a bunch of doom. And again, I'm basically speaking of stream of consciousness because I forgot what I wanted to talk about. But I did want to focus in on the non-Steam version, which includes my audio, which I think still pretty much sounds the same. But relative to my earlier videos, pretty much episode 200 and earlier of the Mystery Modpack series was done on Windows, and from here on, I'm doing it on Linux. Unless, of course, I switch to my other setup, which is still on Windows. And the short version of why that is because the Windows setup that is now just Windows, instead of this setup that's Linux, belongs to someone else. That is a Doom decreasing event for this character. But anywho, so yeah, I can still record on Windows, but it will result in stuff. In fact, the other setup would record World of Horror a lot nicer, if that makes any sense, because, as you may have noticed, the quality has dropped. In fact, if you look through this platform, you can probably only go to 720p 60 frames. That's because if I try to go for 1080, you will see, like in the previous episode relative to this one, which is, I think, episode 202? Oh my goodness, I don't even remember at the moment. But there are some stuttering through the gameplay, and that's not because of you, it's because of me recording through OBS, because OBS complains about encoding overloaded, which means that one of several settings need to be tweaked, but if I tweak any other settings, that can result in things. Now, funny enough, I think part of it, I'm sure that wine doesn't play too much of a factor, but through the Steam version, I definitely saw... for some reason, my Steam version was working fine until I decided to tweak things around, both in OBS and in Steam, and it no longer, like, the game will crash, basically. Or was it the game, or was it OBS? One of the two crashes, and it's not nice. So, shrug. We'll save Auteur for 4th, just to get through Vigil. Especially since we're topped off on Stamina and Reason. But yeah, basically, listen to the audio again and look at the quality. I mean, for me personally, I don't really. I mean, I see the difference between 720p and 1080, but it doesn't make as much as a difference. And if it results in smoother videos, then I would rather do 720 and forgo 1080 than go 1080 and you get like 15 frames, 10 frames per second on a World of War video. Again, World of War is relatively low resource, but obviously want to start adding things on top of each other, whether you're streaming or recording World of War, then yeah, things can happen. Now, at this point, let's also play, not devil's advocate, but add some nuance in that I'm sure other people are playing World of War on Linux just fine, but I'm curious as to see how many people are making content on World of War through Linux, basically, recording or streaming. So, shrug, that's all I can say at the moment. But if anyone has that experience and is doing like smooth, I will even say 1080p 60 frames per second, please let me know how you're doing that. Part of it is the hardware of my setup as well. I always meant to upgrade. I probably should have taken the envelope. But I did always mean to upgrade this setup. And what would happen is I essentially give my current setup to someone living around me. That way their setup can upgrade as well. And then their old setup can be pretty much replaced. Not that they're a content... Oh, wait. Are they a content creator? Yeah, they're a content creator. And we'll leave it at that. But, yeah. Do I want to Dotoo Flame this? 8 plus 10. We take Doom for it, but you know what? To not lose 2 stamina, but just also to make the encounter quicker. Sure. We just leveled up. Anywho, we'll go RNG, although it would be nice to get knowledge, to get 8 knowledge. I don't remember what my lighthouse checks are, but we'll grab some funds, lose some stamina, and grab a pack of cigarettes afterward. Or lore information. This character is of age, right? Not that I'm strict on that. I've obviously played characters of vastly different backgrounds, but anywho, I mean, you get what I'm trying to get at here. I'm just interested to see if I can give this character cigarettes for the nicotine rush buff. But anywho, don't have time for it. Oh, I wanted to grab a pack of cigarettes. We do get a brick as well, and these cigarettes are 3 funds. So you know what I'm gonna actually do? We're gonna tree for funds and grab a second pack. That is going to be an interesting blood frenzy. So, we're going to keep that. Not that we have any damage mitigation. So let me focus on the game for a bit, because depending on what I fight, we could be taking 4 stamina or 4 reason. Or old gods forbid, we fight an all enemy. I passed that check. But yeah, we'll find out. So thankfully, if you pass that perception check, you can kind of get back the doom you lose for succeeding one of those 2 checks. But hey, we'll go the common route here. We fail and get 5 experience. I'm doing a thumbs up in real life, and hey, things. So we do fail, thankfully, but this one we can't fail. So perception? Question mark? Yeah. And off we go. So let's see, I mean, it really depends on what enemies we run into, but Blood Frenzy is going to be a heck of a thing. That's a free 10 experience, and off we go. I forgot I was going to mention. I was going to mention something specific. Again, I wanted to continue on the topic of Linux, at least for like another episode or 2 minimum, because it's kind of important to me recording. If for no other reason than to tweak my settings as you, the viewer, have a better viewing experience, basically, because that's I believe that's prevalent. If my videos or streams, if I decide to do them, are not pleasing to watch or listen to, then hey. But on the topic of audio, at least, I mean, I'd rather be lower than louder, because the specific reasoning for that is if you're louder, when you're blowing out your microphone, it does not sound good, even if you lower the volume, as opposed to if you're speaking at a lower volume, the viewer can always turn it up, and you'll get, you know, I won't sound like a robot, essentially. But as we fight the audience here, so yeah, this is, I mean, if I can brace, then Blood Frenzy will be good for me, kind of. I can do the math in my head, so if I took 2 reason, but then did prep attack instead, that's at level. If I didn't have Blood Frenzy, we would be doing 10 damage per 2 reason, which is 5 damage per 1 reason loss, as opposed to I'm taking 1 reason through with Blood Frenzy and dealing 6 damage. So I'm dealing more damage overall through brace, guaranteed attacks, or just attacks in general. This is not guaranteed anyway, but bear with me. But on average, I'm going to do more damage, because if I didn't have Blood Frenzy, I would be essentially be doing prep attack for 10 damage at 2 reason, which if you go based on reason loss, so every 1 reason I lose without Blood Frenzy, I do 5 damage. And then during a kill turn, I can just do prep attack. So, I mean, you get a bit of extra damage, but obviously there are encounters in which that's not the case. Mostly when they are not 3 damage and they're doing 4 damage because, well, you can't really brace as effectively, but hey. So, ramen or nightclub? I think we do nightclub. I was planning to do Auteur 4th, and I decided to do that instead. A good thing I didn't, because then the audience would have had -4 reason, because I think I got Blood Frenzy during... Yeah, I got Blood Frenzy during the... during Auteur, my 3rd mystery. So not only would the audience have been doing 4 damage, they actually would be doing, I think, 5. But anywho. So at this point, I think we just smoked the cigarettes. We'll hold on. Actually, we have like 3 packs, so let's just use them all. And that'll cover us for the entire run. In fact, 2 cigarettes will cover about 3 mysteries. But if you want to be super safe, yeah, pretty much 1 pack of cigarettes will last you a mystery. So yeah. But otherwise, some other nuances to... Oh, please save me. Basically, World of War on Linux. So, it's not that I did extensive testing on virtual machines, which is why I didn't really talk about virtual machines, but definitely for Bottle, you get a similar experience. If not the same, but I'm pretty sure it names your directories differently. But you can essentially follow the same thing. That's why I added a note near the beginning of that Linux video, or Linux How to Cuss Content 101 video. At the very beginning, I mentioned just search save.ito. If you can do that and you have enough, and you're at least that tech savvy, as we encounter an explosion, we get ending C. But also, you do a thing. Let me just focus for a moment. That sound effect really pulled me out for a moment. But let me just make sure. Last mystery, 74% Doom. We do have a strength check. We do not have the knowledge check, but it's not like we were going to get charisma or dexterity to 8. Probably could have gotten dexterity to 8 through quick, because we did see quick thinking, but eh. But yeah, that's why I said it. I added a thing at the beginning of that video saying search for save.ito, because that's a pretty unique name to give to a file. So I do have to give positive criticism here in that at least makes troubleshooting a lot better. By the way, 6 reason damage. We do have spells to forget, and I think we have self-therapy as well, so funny enough, we can take this. Alternatively, we could have O2 Flame, so that we're not losing as much reason. We do take Doom for it, though, but as opposed to 6 reason... And then we have essentially 10 stamina healing. Oh my goodness. My audio went crazy for a moment. But otherwise, you know what? We'll take out of funds. Might allow us to skip a bad downtown investigation. And by that I mean, well, how much more... So if I run, it's 5 Doom. If I cast a Thotu Flame, it's 4 Doom if I cast it twice. And I'm pretty sure I get out in... Yeah, 1 turn if I do that. So 14 damage. Could decide to gamble. I'm just going to play it safe here, though. And we can visit the monument afterward, and we can cross our fingers for reason, which did not happen. So hopefully this energy drink sells. And we're going to continue trying to trade off reason. Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. Especially since I don't remember my second encounter. So, yeah, we'll take the reason damage here. If you don't have the funds, it's 1 reason, which, fair enough. In fact, that's actually better. Again, this is a lot of my decision-making, as you may have figured by now. Depends on if I run into the out-of-funds event. And the reason for that is because, well, just by nature of objective fact, yeah, out of funds, you get 2 funds, but you lose 5 Doom, 3 Stamina, or 3 Reason. Let me repeat that. If you have 0 funds, there is a chance of proccing the out of funds event. By the way, no second encounter check. Proccing the out of funds event, which is a guaranteed plus 5 Doom, or 3 Stamina loss, or minus 3 Reason. So if you instead say, I forgot what I was going to say now. I did Arms into Vigil. So I lost 1 reason somewhere. I know that was what happened. Wow, I have really bad short-term memory. But if that gives me a chance to skip out of funds for whatever reason, then it is worth losing minus 1 reason, because otherwise you lose minus 3 reason. That's the direct trade-off. But as we run into Takshisan here, and he collapses under the weight of all these attacks, preferably speaking? No. Then yeah, I mean, this is guaranteed. So yeah, we shouldn't need to level up, and off we go. But yeah, I think you get the point. So if you have any questions, or if you want to comment on whether, you know, the quality of this recording, video, audio, or otherwise, please let me know. That would be great to know. You don't have to. I'm just saying that, though, if you want some interaction or something, whatever this platform calls it. But without further ado, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!